Welcome back, everyone. We are now going to be starting to work on our funk strumming and the main riff that we're doing. This is Prince meets Guns N' Roses. Make sure you're in tune. We're getting started. So, one thing that we're going to be trying to do is we're going to be trying to create this syncopated type of rhythm and sound with this main riff. And I found that the easiest way to do it at first is to be staccato. Staccato means kind of like allowing it to be more like a, and that's it. And I'm also using a very dry sound because when you're doing funk and stuff like that, you want a really dry sound so that way when you're doing, you're not really giving any kind of impressions of delay or anything like that that could throw the rhythm off. So we're going to start right here with our pinky on D5. That's the G note. And then we're going to be going A2, A3, A4, and A5. And the way that we're going to count this is 1 and 2 and. So it's going to be on the ands. It's not going to be on the downbeat. This is on 1 and, but then these are on 2 and, 3 and, 4 and. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. And make it staccato. It'll be easy for you to keep up with which beat it's on. But after that, you want to start to let these kind of hang out a little bit and make them tie a little bit longer. And that's going to give you more of like that lazy funk type of sound. Then the next thing we're going to do, once we get here to A5 with our third finger, we're going to play D3 with our first finger. That's our F note. Then we're going to come back to A5. And then we're going to go to D4. And now that's kind of doing a F to F sharp to set up the G again. So we got 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. That would be like the way to do it with just working on making sure it sounded syncopated. After a while, you can add as many notes as you want because you're comfortable with the formula. D7 sharp 9. So that's A5, D4, G5, and B6. So there's the sharp 9 right there. So D7 sharp 9. And then that sets up our funk strumming. So the way you want to practice this is you want to make sure that you know what grip you're using, and then you want to make sure that you're muting everything else that you don't want people to hear. So when I use the grip, I'm using this grip right here. So this is out of G bar chord. So it would be G3 or G4, B3, and E3. Now I may or may not hit that E string. You know, it just depends on how the pick is hitting. But what I am doing is I'm hammering on G3 to G4 to kind of give it a little bit more of a funky bluesy vibe. You're hearing me tapping my foot. So that right there is the beginning. And then I go to G5 and B5. Which in the case of this, it would be like as if I was going G to C. And then I'm going to do that. Now here's the trick with funk. For me, this has really helped. Now everybody has a different way of approaching things, but I have found that if you want to sound funky and you want to have like that Prince, Nile Rodgers, or like Nuno Betancourt from Extreme. If y'all have never heard him, y'all should check him out because a lot of this is more like him than anything. You're going to mute everything. Okay? So when I tell students to mute, they immediately try to do this. They push down too hard. Just barely touch these strings, and now you're muting them. You just have to stop the vibrations. And then we're just strumming. 1E and a 2E and a 3E and a 4E and a 1E and And what I am doing is I'm keeping my wrist really loose. Like I'm pretending that there's a weight holding this part down, and this part is just kind of like almost like Novocaine numb. Like that's what I'm trying to get that across. Or like if you ever had any nasty piece of food or something on your hand and you wanted to flick it off, but you didn't want to touch it, that's the kind of motion you want to get with your wrist. So be real relaxed with your wrist. And then only strum, like only try to do a stroke that would cover maybe half an inch. So there we are. And then when you want your audience to hear the notes, you squeeze with your left hand. So I'm going to get that grip. So notice I'm going right back to like that muted position. Guthrie Govan, if you've never heard of him, he's probably one of the greatest guitarists living today. He does 30-second note strums, and it sounds so amazing. But he does that kind of a thing. If you watch his arm is almost like completely still, but his wrist is just absolutely going nuts. So you have... And make sure you subscribe so you get better with everybody. And you don't miss what we're doing. Okay, so what I did is I just went right here to the 4 chord, which is C. And all I'm doing is, G9, B8, and E8. And then G10 and B10. But once again, I'm just kind of doing maybe 2 strings or so. And you really start to hear that. Now, you can start to change your pickup selection. If you got a 5-way pickup selection, go to pickup selection 3. And you'll get more of that funk sound. But if you want that quack, go to pickup position 4. Or go to pickup selection 2. And then you can play that. So you can do this kind of thing with all kinds of different grips. But I like this one because it's giving the listener the sound of that G. And I don't have to do much of anything except just, this. So I can really stay in this muted. I can stay in that muted position quite a bit. See, my hand's right back in a muted position. So then I go to the C. Then we go back to the G. Then we hit our A minor 11 from last week. If you didn't check that out, check that video out right there. This is going to be E5, D5, G5, B3, A, G, C, and D. Then we go to D7, A5, D4, G5, and B3. And then, we can do all kinds of other things, but that just kind of gives us a little bit to work with out of this little composition. Remember, all these little compositions that I come up with for these Fretwork Fridays are for students, and to kind of give you a quick little etude to help you with some of these techniques like funk strumming, or, you know, triads or picking or whatever. And I'll tell you this, if you get good at this, that right there has a full effect on that kind of a thing. So make sure that you really work on this and you stay really relaxed. Make those strokes really short. And you'll be playing like Nile Rodgers and you know, all those funk guitarists like Prince. Even John Mayer, man. John Mayer's got some crazy chops when he does this too. So, yeah, there it is, guys. Y'all have a great weekend. Make sure you subscribe. Click that notification bell so you don't miss anything. And have a blessed weekend. We'll talk to you soon, and we'll see you next week with a cool little melody that we'll put to this. Have a good one. Bye.